Dave raised the issue of employee benefits, long-term sustainability. The Press Enterprise has reported that Corona's unfunded pension liability is over $122 million, and it described the general employee's pension as being less than 70% funded. Has the city set aside enough money to adequately fund the liability for current and future city employee retirees and for retiree health costs? Kevin? Steve.
Well, Ross, I don't know the answer to that because I'm not on the council yet. So I don't have privy to that information. However, here's one thing I do know. If you look at the cities who have cut their public safety, the cities that have cut their police and their fire, they've really gone down. You start looking at San Bernardino, Detroit, Moreno Valley. These places nobody wants to move to. Nobody wants to build a business in any of those places. It's not safe. You have to feel safe and you have to be safe in a city in order for it to thrive and to flourish. If we start cutting public safety, our housing prices will go down, businesses will leave, and then we will even be in a worse revenue problem because we're not going to have those sales taxes, real estate taxes, and business taxes that are coming in. I'm the only non-incumbent who has been endorsed by the police and the firefighters. It's because I truly believe that for a city to really be a true flourishing city, our public safety has to be our #1 priority.
It's very difficult to do a 1-minute answer to that question. I certainly encourage each and every one of you. It's open to all of you. I know that some of you have asked for that information, and 1 or 2 of you have sat down with our finance director. It's an open book. Everyone is welcome to see the information. Our liability means that 70%, if that stopped tomorrow, we could pay 70% of all of our obligations to every employee that's been retired. Well, the chances of 70% need to be paid in 1 day is not very probable, just like your mortgage. When you have a mortgage of, say, $400,000, and when you say it's unfunded, I don't know how many of you have $400,000 sitting in the bank to pay that off. But the point is that we make our payments, we make a little more when need be, we have it planned for the longevity increase that we're all getting every city because we're living longer. It's a good thing, but pensions make it that we have to have more. So we are meeting all of our obligations.
I don't have the information that's provided to the others that have served, like Steve and Kevin. I'm with them. We just don't have that information. But I am a retiree of CalPERS. I do collect my pension, and we do well. Karen's quite right that the likelihood of 70% rate is going to be very unlikely, but 30 is. That's the information I was providing. And with that, it's going to put a hurt on our cities. We have to be prepared. We are going to have to be creative, make certain they're in the right investments for those individuals, and make sound decisions. It's going to be critical that we make the right choices.
Well, there's good news, bad news in part of the pension stuff, as Aaron had mentioned. But one of the things that most people have not seen or heard is it is kind of a wave that goes through. We do have some more retirees every few years. When 3 at 50, 3% at 50 years old was enacted, a lot of people retired immediately. But what most people don't realize, in January of 2013, that was actually taken away. So all new hires in the city are not getting that same benefit. So the new hires, as the new ones come in to employment, their benefit structure is completely different than existing employees. So as that wave goes through, the newer, younger members are actually compensating a little bit for that differential. So it will be in constant flux, but it is getting paid down, and as Karen mentioned, we do pay down extra at certain times as well.
Well, I've had the opportunity to speak with Jim Ock, who is the president of the Corona Police Officers Association, to discuss these issues about pensions. And as Karen had mentioned before, we are a general law city, and so we fall under the rules of the state legislature. A lot of the cities you hear of in the news are charter cities, and they've made decisions and made mistakes on their employee pensions, and they weren't able to cover them, and so now they have to make these drastic changes. We are falling under the rules of the state legislature, and the state legislature has worked to make changes to ensure that employee pensions will be 100% funded in the future. And we are working with those new rules to change the pensions with the city of Corona so that we will be financially healthy. And so I think it's important that we look at the experts that are looking into this. Our presidents of both unions have studied this and studied it well, and I've spoken with them, and I think the path we're on will be sustainable as we go into the future. Thank you.
Let me go back to Karen and Eugene, because you've been dealing with it most recently. Should there be a cap, is that the right word, if that's the right word, on Corona public employees' annual retirement income?
I don't think we could do that legally. And if there was a discussion of that, I would have to say, I don't think you can do it legally, so I would have to refer to that at this time, because things are in motion, things are set.
Well, I think it depends on how you look at that. My understanding, and I don't know the intricacies because the financial department works on that mostly, is that you would not, I mean, Dave would probably have a better response to that, but being a retiree, is that you can't make more in retirement and pension than you were making when you were working. So I think that's almost what you're implying. And so, so it's hard to say, with that question. But if you were trying to, there is a cap, which is their salary. So, and they don't ever get 100. No retiree ever gets 100% of their salary. So yes, in essence, there is a cap. It's what their salary is.